Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Catherine Adrians, and this is Lunch Break with a Librarian. Today I'm going to be interviewing one of our other reference librarians, Kim Christopher. He has been with us for about a year now. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that curbside pickup is starting on Monday, June 15th. So you can visit our website or give us a call to request books that are here in the building at the Haverford Township Free Library, and we will let you know when they're ready for you to come pick up. Also, we are about to start summer reading for both kids and adults on our new digital platform, Beanstack. So you can visit delcolibraries.org to take a look at that and register to complete challenges and earn badges for the books you've read this summer. So with all that out of the way, let's get started. Kim, do you want to start by telling me a little bit about yourself and what you do here at the library?
Just like you said, reference librarian at Haverford, just doing all the typical reference stuff that you see us doing at the reference desk, helping people with questions, find items and all that. But myself, I guess, just that I'm a relatively recent resident to Pennsylvania. Just moved here about 3, 4, lose track of time, but about roughly 4 or 5 years now ago, and just started working, like you said, here at the library for over a year now. And yeah, so enjoy it very
Awesome.
much. I like the library. So
Yeah. And where were you before you were in Pennsylvania?
all sorts of places. My family, we've never really set down roots firmly anywhere. We lived when I was a little kid. I don't remember any of it, but my family keeps telling me we lived in California. There was an earthquake and all that stuff. I don't remember that at all. I was only 1 year old. And then we moved like to Oregon, stayed there for close to like 20, almost 30 years, but we kept sort of moving back and forth in Oregon from like area called Eugene, then to eventually to Portland, and then I went to library school in Minnesota, lived there for 3 years, and then finally here to Pennsylvania. So all over the
Yeah,
place.
really, it's quite a journey. We're glad to have you here. So
Yeah.
what did you do before you were a librarian? Did you have kind of another career path before that, or has it always been librarianship?
Uh, Back and forth a bit. Initially, before I started working at the library, I was working at Whole Foods and still work there part time. But yeah, I never really had considered librarianship before. At one point I was almost considering becoming a psychologist,
Oh,
but
wow.
didn't pursue that too much because I started helpfully I went to the library, started looking at books on psychology, and initially it seemed interesting, learning about it, but it got very complex over a while. I took like one class in psychology at my community college and it was interesting, but then I realized just how much it involved in terms of just, psychology of the mind. And so, yeah, I just eventually transitioned to studying librarianship just in Minnesota after talking with some other librarians at the library, what it involved. And well, my family's already been around libraries my whole life. We used to just go to the library every week. Just I would take out a big giant bag of books, and that just continued until I got into college. Could only check out a couple of books and read those during all my coursework and everything. But yeah, been around libraries my whole life and just figured that'd be the way to go.
Fantastic. So what do you love about librarianship now that you're in it and doing it?
Uh, I guess just the collections development, learning about all sorts of things I didn't realize were out there. I mean, like I said, I went to the library every week, grabbed something to read and all that, but just being involved with the collections more as a librarian, I'm just seeing things I might have missed or, those sleepers, so to
Yeah.
speak. And I'm just every week, every day, I'm just going in, trying to learn more about the collections and finding more to read. Unfortunately, my bookshelves are so full these days
I
that
know.
I'm trying to clean up my shelves and maybe give away books to other people so they can enjoy them too. But yeah, my bookshelves are just full of new books every week.
So, for those who don't know, the reference librarians here in Haverford Township are responsible for choosing and buying the books for the adult collection. So, any adult books that are here, we are the ones deciding on. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about which collections in the library you're responsible for?
Sure. So I'm responsible for the graphic novels, the adult graphic novels, like you're mentioning, for our collections, as well as the sci-fi and fantasy. And that's pretty small in comparison to the other collections, that is. But yeah, every week just going in, learning about the collections, trying to add to them, and unfortunately weed out some of the ones that haven't been read in a very long time, but we give them away, so hopefully they'll find a new home for somebody else who will enjoy them.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite between the two?
Mostly the graphic novels, because just as a kid, well, I blame my dad, but he tried to get me to read, Superman comics, he's the guy to go to. And, well, I just read comics as a kid all the time and just, got into graphic novels over time. So
awesome. Yeah, it's a good collection. That was one of my first ones too when I started here, and it's a fun one to buy for.
Yeah, it's also relatively easy if you're just,
yeah,
because the pictures, they tell the story too.
Yes.
So
yes.
A reader in order to understand the story.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have favorite books, either in those collections or just kind of in general, that you find yourself coming back to?
There are so many books I've read, but some, I guess it really depends, because I'm a collector as well. So sometimes I just pick something up in random because it looks good. I read it, I like it, but then I put it on my shelf. I forget about it. But I suppose the one book that I probably go back to a lot, let me think here quickly, is I read a lot of Japanese manga, because initially I was reading like all the superhero comic books, and then I found out about the Japanese anime and everything, got into the Japanese manga. My shelves are full of those too. But yeah, I would go back to things like the standards like Bleach and Naruto, and those are the ones that started me reading Japanese manga. So I would frequently go back to those as the ones I always read.
Very cool. Yeah. So besides reading, what are some of your hobbies? Do you have things that you do besides that for fun?
A few. Unfortunately, being so busy, I can't get around to them as often as I would like. But building models is one hobby I have. I have a model ship, unfortunately, again, with all that's being so busy, sort of put it on the side, but now and then I get back to it, work on it, and I have to, it's hard at times because they don't include instructions.
Oh gosh.
So, yeah, that's why it takes up some time, and why I set it aside primarily, because without the instructions,
I can't imagine.
So much time. It gets obsessive.
Sure. Have you finished bottle ships in the past, or other models?
Bottle ships not so much, because my parents, they tried to get me into, well, my dad, he did those when he was younger. He tried to get me into them, but I never really got into the bottle ships because I couldn't figure out the complex details of getting, the ship into the bottle, that is. And my dad, he left me to my own devices. He didn't help me out at all with those. So again, no instructions, and
on your own.
Frustrating.
Yeah. Wow.
So, so building models and all my books, of course, but I love movies and TV shows, so I collect a lot of those as well. Nice. So, but yeah.
Nice. Do you have favorites of those, or like favorites in your collection?
Yeah, science fiction, of course, since I'm in charge of the sci-fi fantasy collection. But TV show I frequently go back to is either Battlestar Galactica or Stargate. So
nice. Okay. Very cool. So back to books for a second. If you could live in a book universe, or like the world of a book or a series of books, do you know which one you'd want to live in?
I would probably want to live in one of the series, the Japanese manga I used to read a lot when I was very younger. It was one of the ones that got me into reading so much manga, was just this one called Mobile Suit Gundam. Just giant robots and all, that's cool and all, but the idea that was very interesting to me was just that living in outer space, the idea is that humanity eventually just moves to these giant space colonies, metal ships or whatever in space, but living in space rather than just on planet Earth, and those exploring the stars, so to speak.
Very cool. I would like to live in that too. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, although I don't know how 0G gravity would work, but
I guess we'd find out.
Yeah.
Are you a Harry Potter guy at all? And if so, do you know which house you'd be in?
Harry Potter wise, not so much these days, but yeah, when I was younger, I did I did read every single book.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever we went to like just the bookstore, there was the new Harry Potter book. I'd sit
Yeah.
down and read the whole book. Didn't
Yeah.
buy it,
Oh,
unfortunately,
no.
but yeah, house-wise, I guess just since Harry Potter, he was the central character of Gryffindor, and
Yeah.
just well, he was
Yeah.
the title of the series. So yeah,
Yeah.
Gryffindor house.
Yeah. Cool. So we've also been doing programs these past couple weeks, which is, I think, new for both of us. We've been kind of more behind the scenes up till now. Do you have a favorite one that you've been doing, or a favorite even like installment of some of the programs we've done?
I think so far it's been the reading with reference. We do so many takes with the reading with reference because we stumble over our words, and everything, try and think of things to say. But
Yeah.
it's very fun to talk about the things that we've been reading, because just to share our passion for these books that we've loved to read. And
Yeah.
well, we're in the book profession, so
Yes. Exactly. So what are you reading now, if you want to give a little sneak peek of a future reading with reference?
Right now I'm reading some graphic novel series or comic book series. That gets confusing over time. They're basically compilations, but yeah, we call them graphic novels. And
Yeah.
so, but yeah, I've been reading something called Something is Killing the Children. It's a
Oh.
horror, science fiction, fantasy series. But yeah, I started reading it. It's a recent release. It was something I tried adding to our collections before we got
Oh, no.
into the lockdown.
Yeah.
And yeah, now I managed to get my hands on it personally and started reading it. And it's a interesting start to a horror series. And I'm not into horror as a
Okay.
genre, but I like it so
Nice.
far.
Something new. Very cool. So on a personal note, do you have pets at home with you?
Unfortunately, no. I'm in a
No.
living situation where our landlord wouldn't allow
Yeah.
pets. He had not to go into personal details,
Yeah.
but bad experiences with pets, in
Oh.
the place you're renting from and all that. But my family, on the other hand, we would if we could, because we've
Yeah.
had so many pets over the years. We had two Bernese Mountain Dogs, we had two terriers, we had fish. I even had
Nice.
a gardener snake at one point,
Oh
I
my
think.
gosh.
Guinea pigs, rats. Yeah,
Oh.
we had so many pets over the years that now my sister just has a couple cats, and I'm
Okay.
content to go over there and pet the cats whenever I visit and everything, have them
Yeah.
sit in my lap. But
Yeah.
I've somewhat gotten used to not having pets, but it'd be nice to have something, to sit on your lap, pet, and all that.
Absolutely. They're good stress relief, especially now. So it's
Yeah,
good you have the
yeah.
cats that you can go visit.
Yeah, I do remember reading how some people are just adopting pets just
Yes.
because, yeah.
Yeah. My parents even did. They have my dog with them now, but they adopted another one kind of in the middle of all this because they were like, look, we're here. Let's just get a dog. So that I think
Yeah, as long as
it's
I'm
pretty
not
common.
terriers, because I remember the terriers were just very frisky.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So to wrap up, I guess, do you have advice you'd give someone who wants to become a librarian?
Advice. Well, I guess for anyone thinking of getting into librarianship, the one thing to remember is just that it will take a lot of studying, that is, of course, but the one thing to keep in mind is that I didn't think about when I got into going for my library degree, was that it involves a lot of writing. You're doing a lot of papers. And my advice to you is that if you're thinking of getting into librarianship, to brush up on all your writing skills, because when I first got in, I was fluent in writing and everything, doing it all those years in just community college and college and undergraduate degree. But very first class I took, my teacher tore apart all of my
Oh,
papers, and I managed to pass the class, thankfully. But she just tore apart all my papers, just gave me criticism after criticism, and I got better after that first class, of course. But now and then there was a teacher or class just where if your paper wasn't up to speed, even just small grammar errors, they would just really give you a bad grade, tear you apart. I even had to repeat a course just
oh wow.
because how bad they perceived my papers were, and that I couldn't understand. Just putting in your mind, you understand everything you're trying to say, but then you put it onto paper, and it all depends again on the teacher. But for them, your writing style, it just really matters if you're doing a really good job on this paper. And it's all about the papers in the end to me.
Totally. Yeah. And remind me, where did you get your library degree?
I got my library degree at St. Catherine's University
Oh,
in Minnesota, hence why I lived there for
yes.
3 years. But yeah, if you ever think of going there, all I can advise is just be wary, cautious of the weather
Yeah.
because in the winter it will get below zero
Oof,
in the minuses, and in the
not for
summers
me.
it will get into the 70s, into the 90s.
Oh, wow. That's a huge difference. I don't think I realized the summers got quite so hot. Wow.
Yeah, and you're always using the air conditioner either way or a fan, but yeah,
Yeah.
the temperatures can be pretty extreme there. I remember that there were a couple winters when I lost power, and
Oh,
this was in
no.
the dead middle of winter, and so yeah, until the repairman got to get to fix our heating, let's just say you were wearing jackets, long
Yeah.
underwear,
Yeah.
wool socks, the whole 9 yards, everything, even
God.
just a couple blankets, and you're still shivering from
Yeah.
the cold. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's crazy. How about that? All right.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, Kim. This was great. I learned a lot, and I think everyone else will learn a lot. And hopefully, you're enjoying getting to know your librarians a little bit more as the people who are serving your community. We can't wait to see you for Curbside starting on Monday, and we hope you'll consider signing up for summer reading on Beanstack. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.